tractors.
Well, if it's sleeting, does that mean that we can spray and the chemical won't get washed off?
I think so.
Asking for a friend. Well, plans changed in a hurry. We're not going to the fields to spray. We're coming back in the shop to fix. All right, no, this is not where we're going to be working on this 4440 ad, but in order to do what we need to do to this tractor, first we got to take the blade off right there. And since this is probably going to be a multi-day project, considering we're going to be in and out of the fields, and also our door on the shop's going to be getting replaced. Place to see the cattle trailer, we got to haul steers off. So the blade's going to be out of the way. We're just going to park it here under the brand new shed for the Zombie Trail paintball, because they're not going to be needed anytime soon. First order of business, get the blade off, then we'll move this thing in the shop, and then I'll explain a little more about just what we got to do to this tractor. That old tractor looks just a little bit different without that blade on it, don't it? Sure looks a little light in the front end. All right, got a few odds and ends to do on this. Watching Dylan Joyce's channel, he upgraded his headlights to some LEDs, so got some of those ordered. Brighten up the night work a little bit. I got a screen right here just being held on with a zip tie. And get rid of this old hose right here that went up to the pressure gauge, I guess, for whenever the last owner was spraying it. And then got a little bit, then we got two bigger issues to deal with it. You can see how wet it is right here on top of the front axle. The hydraulic pump is back up in there. So it's hydraulic oil coming from the hydraulic pump. I'm hoping that is just like a loose clamp on a hose or something, and that's all we got to do, and not an actual seal leaking, because and to get to that hydraulic pump right there is not going to be a very easy feat. Not even really sure what all you got to take loose to get to it. Probably the fuel tank, radiators, and no telling what else. So I'm gonna try and track down the source of it. But the biggest thing that's in here for, you can tell right here, our radiator shroud has been eaten up. If you know anything about these old John Deere tractors with 8-speed power shifts in them, their shifting is just, I mean, it'll break your neck almost. And every time it shifts, these frame rails torque a little bit and twist, and of course the engine stays where it is, but the frame rails twist and the radiator shifts, and the fan trail's been getting into the edge of the fan. Again, watching Dylan's videos from I think 2 years ago, he had some bolts broke here in the frame rail. We got to take the frame of the blade mount off to access those bolts, and I'm thinking might be some broke back in there. I know there's some back behind the battery box that we've replaced in the past, but if I don't see anything broken that might stiffen it up, there's that X plate right there that's made of like really thin metal, and I've never been a big fan of it, so I may just make my own out of a lot thicker and stiffer material. That's going to be, that's going to be a plan D. We're going to try and find some other solutions first. And then last but not least, if Dylan can find the time to come down here and help me because he's got the technical manuals for these tractors. We've got a clutch or something slipping in there. When I bought this tractor, we had the main clutch coming off the engine going to the transmission, had it replaced. And I don't think this is the one that's slipping. I don't know if it's a PTO clutch or a power shift clutch or whatever. But whenever we've had the bush hog on there, like if the bush hog goes over terrace, gets a little bit of dirt, the PTO will keep on turning, but the tractor comes to a complete standstill. So it's definitely not the main clutch coming off the engine. But apart from that, I'm really not sure what it is. Dylan seems to think that it might be a pressure, low pressure on one of the clutch packs or whatever. But anyway, he's got the technical manuals to come over here and diagnose that. But, you know, he's just as busy as I am. So it's going to be kind of tough to find a day that both of us can dedicate to this. But hoping to get him over here to help me diagnose that. So where do we start, Andy?
Let's start with the green. Start on the green paint.
Start on the green. Well, first things first. Let's see if we can find some. See if we can find some broken bolts on those frame rails. We'll start by taking, you know, the dozer frame rail part off and seeing what's hidden behind door number 1 there. Yep. All right. Well, Andy's taking frame rails off. He already found the source of the hydraulic leak. See that wetness around the top of the crimp of the hose there? And that's a hose we just had made within the last year or two, so the crimp failed, but hey, I will take that. All we gotta do is take it loose there, right there, have another hose made. She's fixed, so no problems with that hydraulic pump that's way back in there. So I guess after the extremely difficult and painful combine repairs, we actually starting to get a little lucky now. Yeah, I guess I don't need to brag too soon. We still ain't got that frame rail off to see what our problem might be. Bolts ain't been off in a long time. I'll break out the air wrench for this. Good go. Oh, look at all that dirt. All right, let's see what we got here. These are the bolts we're looking at. Yeah, I think that might be part of the problem right there.
You got a broke one?
Get 2 broke ones.
I got a couple broke ones over here. I got one. I'll tell you she's broke.
So, well, you got 1 intact?
I have 2 intact at front. And I guess the other one just came out whenever it wanted to.
So we got 2 right there.
And 2 right there, and then, yeah.
I wonder how that front end was even still holding under there. Well, I think we found the source of the problem of the frame flexing right there. But you know what? If I hadn't watched Dylan Joyce's video where they made 2 years ago where he's fixing that exact same problem, I never would have even known that those bolts was behind there and that could have been the source of the problem. So thanks, Dylan, for putting out that video. It definitely helped me. Well, hopefully it definitely helped me solve this problem. So that's just goes to show you what a good resource that us farmers that put out this stuff on YouTube could potentially help other farmers down the road in figuring out and solving some of the problems that they'll definitely come across. Well, they got kind of a tapered edge there, so I don't know. I'm assuming that's going to have to be like a special type of bolt, kind of like a wheel lug bolt that goes up in there. So I want to get on the parts and look. So we on a roll this afternoon. We ain't been in here 30 minutes, and we done diagnosed the 2 biggest problems we're gonna have on this tractor.
That's what we like to hear.
Heck yeah! Like I feel like a real mechanic right now.
I know we just brought her in and diagnosed.
Like I actually know what I'm doing now, after looking like a fool on the last 3 videos anyway.
All right, well, let me get on the parts website, see what kind of bolts we need for that. Go ahead and take that line off right there, and you might have to take this bottom plate off to be able to get a wrench on that, or you might be able to get it without it. And we'll go from there. All right, moment of truth. Oh, look at that, it's turning. Oh, I'm so happy. It is. Man, I'm so scared of boogering these threads up because it's almost impossible to drill right center of the bolt. Look at there. I was close to getting in the threads, but not quite. Two of them out. All right, what'd your side look like?
I think they're gonna need to be drilled too.
All right.
Cause that stupid tie rod wasn't in the way.
I could make a 360 then.
It's still in a better spot than some of the bolts we was working with on the combine.
Oh yeah, this is a breeze compared to that combine so far. Even with chiseling out bolts.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Drake? You want pets? Nothing more exciting than watching somebody chisel a broken bolt out.
It's like watching paint dry.
I bet to some viewers this is pretty satisfying though.
Oh yeah.
Nothing more satisfying than watching that sucker come out right there though.
Woohoo!
All right, we 3/4 of the way
Got
through.
that one.
One more.
All right.
It's going to have to be drilled though.
Yeah.
All right, come on out now. Still didn't hit center even though I center punched it.
All four are out
I can sleep easy tonight.
now. Drill burning.
Yeah, my arm gonna be sore in the morning. All right, Andy, let's call it a day. That's a good stopping point before we make a mess.
Yeah.
Rain, go away. We got some field work to do. Now, I don't want to say that too loud, otherwise we'll end up in a repeat situation of last summer. All right, back on the 4440. If you hear a little rack in the background, it's because, yes, we're getting the new door installed, the 2.0 door installed today. A little drafty in here this morning. I might have to go get my jacket. All right, Andy went back and we got some more bolts because after looking at some of these other bolts, if you can tell, look, they're kind of angled down. So they're not broken though, but they don't look like they're in the best of shape either. So I'm gonna replace these two. The dilemma I'm facing is Dylan said he put Loctite on all these bolts. I don't know if they broke just because it's kind of a weak design or if they broke because the bolts worked loose a little bit and that's what broke them. If they broke because they worked loose a little bit, then yes, it makes sense to put Loctite on them. However, if they broke for another reason, say because we got the blade on there or it's just kind of a weak design, if they break again and I put Loctite on them, the studs will definitely not come out near as easy as what they did yesterday. So what do? I think we're gonna leave the Loctite off just to be on the safe side. If they break again, we'll just have to do this again. And it might put a Loctite on the second time, but for now, I'm gonna leave the Loctite off, tighten the heck out of them, and keep our fingers crossed that they don't work loose and break. So I'm scared to death. If they break and put Loctite on, we'll never get the studs out, and we'll have to just completely pull the whole front end out. All right, let's get the brake cleaner and get these threads real good and clean, and we'll put these new bolts in and see what she looks like. So that comes loose. All right, we got these bolts replaced. And then we took these out, which actually, we just jacked the engine up slightly and they pulled right out. And I don't know if you can tell there, but there's no threads left for the bolts went. They're completely blown out. And then also, the holes are egg shaped, and I don't think there's no way to drill out big and put good threads in there or put a helicoil in there. But if you look way back down in there, there are threads past where the bolt did not reach. So if I find some of these bolts longer shape going into good threads, that might work. I think that might be our only option. All right, just got back from the parts store, and here's the bolt that John Deere sold me go in there. Now we know that these amount of threads is eaten up, but I've got good threads back in the engine block that I can tap into. So I was not able to find a longer bolt with that kind of a flanged head or taper head, whatever you want to call it, but I did get some grade 8s from HCI, but as you can tell, the head's different. Had some great help from Scott over at Motor Parts there in Humboldt. He came up with this idea of using some tapered wheel nuts and putting it on the lathe and drilling out the inside to 5/8 inch diameter of the bolt, and then we'll cut the head off and just use that taper part and run the bolt through there. So we got a little bit of machining to do, but I think that will be a pretty good solution to this project anyway. Still going to have a little problem right in here with the hole being a little bit larger diameter than the bolt because all the threads are worn away, even though it'll be grabbing back here. So I'm kind of worried with the engine block twisting that with that slack right there, it's going to put more leverage on this bolt because, you know, it's not going to be holding right here, it'll be holding back here, and we might still have a problem with broken bolts. But this is the best solution for now without completely ruining the hole. There are other options. Hopefully I won't have to go down that road, but we're going to try this first because it does not permanently alter the engine block. So let's put that new lathe to work yet again. Alrighty, update. I got my little flanges or whatever machine. I tried one out, cleaned the threads out, and these bolts are just a hair too long from tightening up all the way there. I think they're hitting on the inside wall there, so tomorrow morning we're gonna get some that are a 1/4 inch shorter, and that should work. But something that's really thrown us for a loop, we thought that was the source of the hydraulic leak, and it kept on dripping oil, so that was leaking a little bit. After further investigation, there's a fitting, actually a T-fitting right there on the hydraulic pump that was broke off probably from where the engine was rocking in the frame or torquing in the frame, knocked it and broke the fittings loose. And we spent half the afternoon going by several different places trying to source that fitting, and apparently it's some special sizes that nobody carries or even makes from what we've seen so far. It's a number 3 O-ring on one side, a number 5 JIC on the other side, and then I can't remember, it's another different size JIC on the other side of the T. So I don't know what we're going to do some more further investigating tomorrow. It's quitting time. On a positive note though, we did get the cows locked in the barn so we can load them first thing tomorrow morning. I was kind of worried about that, but Andy went up there and closed the gate about 1/4 of the way, and they got inside the barn and maneuvered around and wound up locking themselves in. So we got lucky for once.
That was our actual easy project.
So I'll take this problems with this over the easy part of getting the steers in the barn for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, tomorrow Andy and my father-in-law will be hauling steers off for slaughter, and I'm gonna keep working on this, and supposed to have a little help on this in the morning, so y'all get to see them then. I apologize for no audio on the past couple of clips. I screwed up the camera settings, but anyway, you got the gist. We got the steers loaded up really easily, about the easiest we've ever done it. Cattle trailer, they headed off to Brewston, get slaughtered. Have a freezer full of beef here in 3 weeks or so. All right, back on this tractor here. Recall yesterday when we left you, we had a hydraulic fitting break up goes on the hydraulic pump, and nobody even made one that we could find. Got it right here though. This must be proprietary to John Deere with special sizes, but luckily my local John Deere dealer in Trenton had one in stock. Blew my mind. So thankfully we can proceed with fixing this tractor, and Dylan just called me a little while ago. They're on their way out here, going to help me diagnose the transmission problems, which might actually be tied to this hydraulic fitting. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to slap it on there and go from there.